Right then, hello there everybody, welcome to the Adam Clery Football Channel and Crystal Palace. They've seemingly struck a deal in blood magic with some sort of witch to never lose another game of football, haven't they? And in fact, that's actually why we're here today, because aforementioned witch has apparently done a very, very good job. Like genuinely, as I'm recording this, the 5 longest unbeaten streaks across Europe's biggest leagues are Elche and Dortmund tied with 7, very, very good. Bayern Munich on 8, very impressive. Barcelona on 9, wah wah wee wah. And then Oliver Glasner's Crystal Palace with 18. So, what the f***? Now before we start, I am very, very pleased to tell you, my friends, that this video right here is the first one we've ever made that was both suggested by and then voted on for by members of the channel. You guys suggested the ideas, we put it to a poll, and now we are literally making it because that is a thing we do now. And if that sounds like fun to you, there will be a link down below which will let you become a channel member and you'll get to tell us what we make, as well as all of this stuff on screen, because I can't be bothered to memorize it right now. Anyway though, Oliver Glasner's Crystal Palace, they are now on a very serious unbeaten run that spans both competitions and seasons. There's an FA Cup final in there, a Community Shield, games against Chelsea, against Aston Villa, against Manchester City, Arsenal, Tottenham, Bournemouth, and seemingly about 10 that were against Liverpool. And they've done it, my friends, all the while playing this fabled 3-4-2-1 system that Ruben Amorim's Man United have gaslit the entire country into believing requires individually selected players very expensively assembled in every single position. And yet, as discussed, they are flying. So what is the difference? Well, to begin, this is the Crystal Palace team that started against Liverpool, and I would say is a pretty good representation of this team. Like, there are others that have been involved, like Jefferson Lerma plays a lot, Will Hughes, Eberici Eze, obviously he was a major part of it last season, but by and large, I wouldn't say there's any major components missing here. And the way it works is really interesting because they are currently the 2nd lowest possession team in the league this season, and they were the 4th lowest last season, just in case you're worried, it's a statistical anomaly. They don't see a lot of the ball. But because of that stat, there is a bit of a misconception about them that all they do is drop into a back 5, sit really deep, end up getting 4 in the midfield, everybody behind the ball, soak up all the pressure, and then wham, try and hit their opponents on the counter-attack. Like Mateta's an absolute bulldozer when he gets going, the 2-10s, so Saw and Pino this season, but obviously Eze the last. They get forward really well. Munoz is a flying machine. So the idea is like, they're a bit like Forest last season. They defend really well, and then they attack purely on the counter. And I think, possibly, this reputation comes from the FA Cup final. Because if you remember the big moment in that match, they are deep, and then they go really direct into Mateta, sweep forward with the wing back, and then one of the 10s barrels in to score the goal. Thing is, right, while they absolutely can do that, and it is part of what it is they are trying to do, that goal in itself is not a good representation of, like, the overall plan, I think. Like, even purely from a numerical sense, right, their carries into the final third, their carries into the penalty area, even just their total number of carries, which I need to stop saying carries, just running with the ball, are all at the very lowest ends of the league. So they are not a team for whom sprints like this necessarily are the be-all and end-all. But they are still incredibly direct. Like, don't get me wrong, when they win the ball back, or even when they just have it at the back, the objective is to move it up the field as quickly as they possibly can, either by carrying it or through the fewest number of passes. Just doesn't really matter which. And this might be a new term for some of you, right? So let's all sit on the floor with our legs crossed, be very, very quiet, pretend we're at school, okay? Opta have them down currently as the league leaders for direct speed. And no, it is not about amphetamine consumption, my friends, even though they do sometimes play like that. It is a statistical measure of how quickly a team gets it, done the hand gesture too early, from back to front. Basically, the distance the ball travels in an attack divided by the amount of time you spent attacking, and on average, Palace are getting the ball up the pitch quicker than any other team. So just to put that in English, right, the way Oliver Glasner has this team set up, forget about the formation, right, is to simply be the most attack-minded side in the Premier League. They retain possession, yes, but not an awful lot of it. They do not focus on having the ball at the back. They attack instead as directly and as relentlessly as anybody else. And I mean, yeah, okay, you're right. That is just literally the entire point of football. So it does sort of beg the question, why are a team who don't spend particularly big and lost their best player again this summer and nearly their captain so much better at doing this than everyone else? And Man United fans maybe just look away now, right? But honestly, one of the answers to that question is this formation. When you set a team up this way, it is supposed to give you much better speed of attack than virtually any other way you can play. Sorry, just changing my jacket because I'm sweating. Is just a really quick loving ode to Jonathan Wilson's inverting the pyramid, right? 4-2-3-1 gives you 3 number 10s, basically really good creativity at the top end of the pitch with a stable base, but 4-3-3 gives you loads of different players between different lines of the opposition, allowing you to control possession really, really well. And as we all know, 4-4-2's point these days is to simply make you really defensively solid.
England will be playing 4-4-2.
But 3-4-2-1 is supposed to be the system that is all about the speed of your attack, because this base of 5 here gives you a number of ways to play through the first line of pressure, and then from there you are supposed to have runners in behind or dropping in between the lines across the entire width of the pitch. And it's in this area in particular that Palace really excel with this. So we'll start here, right? Munoz is out of shot, but this 3-4-2-1 is back in its defensive shape of a 5-4-1. Like when you compress everybody in, that's the shape you go to. Liverpool have the ball on this side, and over here, Munoz is still sitting on Kirkez, who was pushed up naturally, and the whole shape of the team, therefore, is pulled over into this right-hand side. And you know what it's like? That's what shuffling across is. That's what compactness is supposed to give you. Are you with me thus far? Every single Liverpool player is marked and attended to, except for Connor Bradley. And of course, Virgil van Dijk, he is the capable sort. Liverpool do this in training all the time. There are no options directly in front of him, so he smartly gets his head up and sees if he can move it elsewhere. And he spots Bradley. That's exactly what he does. He launches it over, but just, and I'm going to just use my Jamie Carragher voice, right? If we just stop it there, as it leaves Van Dijk's foot, look at both Mark Gay and Tyrick Mitchell. They are already sprinting out of their current positions with their current responsibilities into something else. And what's happening here is that Gay is leaving his man and getting across to Salah so that Mitchell can leave Salah and stop this ball. And that is exactly what they do, and they time it so well and is so coordinated that Mitchell actually beats Bradley to that ball and ends up intercepting it. Like, just take it back to the point where Van Dijk will have spotted this passing option. You would not say in a million years, because of the fact that Salah is tying up the defender here, that there's any issue hitting this pass. He doesn't underhit it, it's not bad or anything like that. It's that Palace are specifically set up to defend one side of the pitch like this, but be so good at moving over as a unit when the switch comes. And I really do want to drill down into this exact moment because it shows you what sets Glasner's version of this system apart from other Premier League sides that I may or may not have already mentioned. Like most teams here, I promise you, right, would see this as Pino's responsibility to sprint over to Bradley and put pressure on him, even though he would be doing so from the wrong side. Like Bradley could take a touch infield towards the Palace goal and get rid of him, but still common sense tells you, well, the wide players should get out to the fullbacks. That's not Palace's approach at all. They shuffle across as a unit instead, and because you've jumped Richards onto Bradley here and everybody's done it together with him, you've wound up with Mark Gay on Mo Salah, Lacroix is keeping his eye on Wirtz, Wharton is on Gravenberch, and Kamada is on Szoboszlai, leaving Pino free to now loiter in this space instead. And because the organisation was so good, because the timing was so good, because the desire was there from Richards, not just to jog over and do his job, but to actually try and win this ball, when he does, all of a sudden, this is the situation you've opened up. Anyway, though, they break up the field as quickly and directly as they can with Mateta, both the 10s and both the wing-backs, and this attack is actually what gets them the corner that leads to the first goal. Brilliant. Wait, hang on, I think I said Richards before about jumping out the back line to get Conor Bradley. That's clearly Tyrick Mitchell. I already said it was Tyrick Mitchell. I might have just said Richards for literally no reason whatsoever. If either of you two are watching this, very sorry about that. I'm terrible with names and also quite thick. So to review, they stay compact, they don't let themselves get too deep, they stop Liverpool playing through the middle, they jump out as a collective when you play into their trap, and then they break forward with both numbers and pace. That is the secret to Crystal Palace, if it's even a secret. Anyway, though, back to my actual point. I did say before that defending deep in a block, not letting the opposition have space, then bursting out in a counter, is not a good way to describe what they're about. So I'm going to show you how they do this exact same thing, but with settled possession. Here we are with the ball. There's no danger on. The centre-backs have it. The midfield two are sat just in front. Liverpool then put the pressure on, and I would say, me personally, that the smart passes here are either into the goalkeeper or nice and long and safe into this centre-back. The thing is, neither of those passes are forwards, are they? So instead, Richards fires it into Pino, who, despite a bad touch, flicks it round the corner to Wharton, of all people, who plays Mateta in, and again, they should probably score. And it's this just sort of like mentality of always forwards on the ball and big coordinated efforts off the ball that are just proving too much for pretty much every team they come up against. Like, this isn't an overperformance this season. They've got the joint highest number of shots on goal, level with Liverpool, and have generated the third highest XG, and in fact are actually underperforming in front of goal. Like, the numbers say they should have had more. Like, I don't know how astounded to sound by this, but they could arguably be doing better than third place in the table and the only undefeated side in the league, which is a thought. In fact, it's actually quite mad. Like, the finishing here is the only part of this team which is not currently in the ruthlessly efficient bracket. They had a stat on the Totally Football show on Monday which said that Crystal Palace had an attempt on goal for every 11 passes they completed. Like, for context, if you need it, Man City have had the most shots in the league this season and are actually trying to pass the ball a lot less than in previous years, and are still one shot every 56 completed passes. Arsenal are every 58, Wolves at the bottom of the league are every 60. Palace were 11 passes per shot in this game and are like 31 or 32 average for the entire season. They are an enormous statistical outlier in this regard. And again, they can do that from a deep, compact shape that other teams can't break down and then break up the other end of the field. But it is also that when they have it, they just look to move it forward so quickly and so directly that they're not messing about with it. And that is the best way to explain what Oliver Glasner is doing with this team. It is pure, from front to back, efficiency with the ball. He has got like total buy-in from all of these players to work as hard as this style of play requires you to. And when you combine that willingness to work with the actual quality they've got and the individual performances that are being put on display, and that is a recipe to not losing a game of football in 18 matches. So it is absolutely zero fluke what Crystal Palace are doing here, and the underlying numbers whisper it, actually suggest they might get a bit better before they even start thinking about getting a little bit worse. But just to wrap up, right, they do face two quite serious problems, in my opinion. Number one, fixture congestion. Like, they are a better team than merely their best 11. Like, we've already mentioned Lerma and Hughes and Nketiah, but Palace fans, a little bit of role play here, right? I want you to look at this starting 11 and then hear in your head the words, "After a bruising midweek game in Europe, Oliver Glasner is forced into 8 changes for Crystal Palace's trip to Everton this weekend." And did you wince? Did you wince? Because if you winced, then you have concerns over the depth of this squad, and in my opinion, you are correct to. And two, arguably the most important one, is that right now these players are playing fantastically and they are implementing a system that is getting the most out of them. But what will happen as the season goes on when other teams come up with ways of negating said system? Nottingham Forest struggled with the exact same thing last season, like when teams realised they were deliberately trying to counter, so they set up much better to defend against counters. They went from 3rd in the table on match week 31 to finishing like, what was it, 6th or 7th. So that can happen. So to put that another way, 1, how adaptable is your manager? And 2, how creamy are dem hamstrings? You answer both of those sufficiently and sky's the limit, I think. So yes, that's the video. Crystal Palace, everyone's new favourite Premier League team. That is how they are doing the things that they are doing. But if you're a Palace fan or even just an interested observer, please let me know what you think of it in the comments down below. And please, my God, if you haven't already, subscribe to us here at ACFC. The next target is just on the horizon. I would dearly like to hit it before Halloween. Won't tell you what it is though. You can of course become a member of the channel as well if you like this video and you would like to help us choose what videos we do in the future. This was really nice. I had no idea what to do this week, so thanks everybody for that. And you can get me across all the social medias at Adam Clery, C-L-E-R-Y. But until next time, my actual in real life friends, sort of, I've been Adam Clery. This is ACFC. I'll see you later. Mwah, goodbye. Ah! It's an eagle.